Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Attachment. Today I'm going to talk to you about the truth about that saying, when you know, especially if you're an adult that grew up in a chaotic home or love was unavailable or unpredictable. So I am Carly Ann. I am the very proud owner of the Attachment Recovery Gym, which is your online membership if you're someone who gets really anxious when it comes to dating and relationships, and you're currently in that learning and taking action phase of your healing. Basically, you're ready for change and you're determined to become secure and so much more. I am teaching from over a decade of professional experience and 3 decades of personal experience. Basically, what I want for you from this podcast is that you can take away some gems, some ideas to help you as you also move from insecure towards secure. So we all know that saying of when you know, you know. You go on that first date, you meet someone's eyes from across the room, and they say that when you know, you know. Let me just ask first, what comes up for you when I say that? Is it true for you? Is it something that instills confusion for you? Because that hasn't been the case. In fact, if anything, is it actually a case that you question your relationships a lot and you really don't know? For people with insecure attachment styles that, like I say, grew up often in chaotic or unpredictable homes, it's often the case that you don't know when it comes to relationships as an adult. There can be lots of confusion, lots of overthinking, and certainly a lot of uncertainty. So let's just think about some of the reasons why that saying, when you know, might not apply to you and might actually create feelings of like disappointment or I'm doing this wrong. Let's think about why that can be for people that relate to insecure attachment. So, the reality is often that the love that you have known so far hasn't actually been healthy. It may have been really painful, unpredictable, unhealthy, unsafe. And so, what you have come to understand about love may well actually be something that's not so good for you today. So let's say that this is the norm for you. Usually, what happens is you find yourself recreating those kind of relationships. So, actually, a lot of the time, the flings that you're having, the long term relationships, whatever it is that's happening for you, a lot of the time you may find that you're actually recreating that kind of dynamic. That tends to be what we see, that we will mirror relationships from the past. Now, it may be the case that you are convinced that this person that you like is the one. It may be that you're not convinced that they're the one, but they feel like addictive and you're kind of in that obsession stage. But either way, it's likely that you're like, I just don't know, because why is it so painful? Why am I behaving in these ways that feel so out of character? And so that idea of when you know, really can go out of the window, or what you think that you know is so confusing to you because you're convinced that this person is the one, despite all of the pain, despite all of the turmoil. And so that idea of when you know can't really be applied here, because we don't want you applying it to relationships that are causing you so much anxiety, where you're spending more time crying than you are feeling good. The next reason this saying may be confusing for you is because of your intolerance of getting things wrong. It means that relationships today can act as a trigger for you. So perhaps when you're getting close to someone, or you're getting the sense that someone likes you, whatever it is, relationships can trigger anxiety. And so what actually happens for you is that you find yourself questioning and overthinking, trying to figure out and create certainty around this situation, meaning that you really don't feel like you know, because one of your coping strategies when it comes to relationships is to think about it, to try and figure things out before they happen, and to keep yourself safe. And that really creates a lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion, meaning that idea of things being like plain sailing and just when you know might be really, really alien for you. If you think about it, if relationships for you, due to your experiences, trigger a sense of fear and mistrust, or whatever it is, you probably know whatever it is that comes up for you, but ultimately it leads to lots of questions in your mind. It leads to lots of worrying. It leads to lots of what if I get this wrong? Then, of course, that is going to create an inner sense of conflict, and there is just more confusion for you. Doesn't have to remain this way. I think this is really, really key. This is learning often to tolerate uncertainty, the uncertainty that comes with relationships, being able to tolerate that actually maybe that idea of when you know doesn't apply to you. It doesn't mean that this is wrong. It might mean that it needs more time, which is another thing that you might struggle with. Because another reason it can be really difficult to know is that, particularly with anxious attachment, there is this sense of urgency. There is a sense of, I need to know right now the outcome of this situation. I need to know the plan. I need to know what this is going to look like, and I need to know if this is right. Now, what this often means is that you go into a relationship very early on, wanting to know exactly what people are thinking, feeling, what are their red flags, what are their history, am I going to get hurt here? And actually, those earlier stages, or even times within your relationship, there is uncertainty. And that can be something that's really difficult, because there are going to be times where we don't know things. And that can be really unsettling. If you're someone who really struggles with the not knowing what's this person thinking, and you feel like, God, I need to know exactly what they're thinking about me. I need to know exactly if they are upset. Really, it means, again, that when you don't know something, that really triggers a lot of fear within you and a lot of anxiety. And remember, earlier stages or certain moments in our relationships, we don't know. And that is really, really natural. So that idea of wanting to know too soon, it just it highlights to us that need to date slowly, to take things slow, to ground ourselves. If you're in a relationship, just to take that step back, to zoom out a little bit. Now, another pattern is that you might find that you actually misread situations quite often. Okay, so for example, let's say someone is quiet and you're assuming that they must be mad at you or that you must have done something wrong. It means that you might struggle to really understand other people's feelings, relationships, the natural flow of relationships and how they play out, because you're hypervigilant, because you're waiting for something to go wrong, or for someone to abandon you, reject you, or for you to get into trouble in some way. And so there is all of this trying to read situations. There's all of this trying to figure things out, very much linked to that point before around the uncertainty. But just think about the times that you might have misread a situation, jumped into something too quick, or not let things played out. It's really hard if we know that we often misread, we often mind read what people are thinking and make stories up in our minds. It makes it really difficult to trust what we're thinking and feeling. And leading in to another point there is that disconnection from self. People with insecure attachment can be very disconnected from your inner world, your emotions, a balanced sense of thinking, knowing what you're feeling. Many people that I work with really find it difficult to even tell the difference between what is a thought and a feeling that I'm having. They find it difficult to name what it is that I'm feeling and to experience that. And so if we don't know, if we don't have that kind of relationship with our inner world, which many of you don't, because that has been shut off in self-protection or due to the relationships that you've had, that chaotic family lifestyle that I was speaking about. If you don't have that secure relationship with yourself, it can be really difficult. How can you know when you know if you don't know what you feel. That's why that somatic work is so important when it comes to healing attachment wounds. That's literally why I trained in somatic attachment therapy, because helping people to build a secure relationship with themselves first is really key. And actually, that can lead into the final point that I'm going to make today. And that is that it can be difficult to know when you know, because you often don't know yourself. You don't know your values. You don't know what you need. Those basic skills that we need in order to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle and have healthy relationships are often missing. And again, if we don't know what we value and we're sat there with someone who is telling us what they value, we can't match that compatibility. So, how are we going to know if this is right? We don't know ourselves. So, we don't even know if we are compatible with this person. All we're often going off is the fireworks, the chemistry. And as hopefully I've pointed out, a lot of the time that is based on the past. It's not coming from a loving place that you might believe or feel it is. So knowing what brings meaning in your life, knowing your values is really, really key. Okay, I know I went on a bit of a riff there. I'm not even sure exactly how many points I shared with you because different things were coming to me as I was talking. But like I say, I hope that you can take some gems, some ideas. It's really normal to feel confused when you're dating, to have moments within your relationship where you feel confused or you're uncertain. I work with people that literally are like, I don't know if I want to be in this relationship. You don't have to know right now, immediately. And I think that is a real skill to build on. It might feel like you do, but if you have an insecure attachment, your experience of love, your definition of love, especially healthy love, can be really distorted. So taking things slow, getting to know yourself, really starting to understand, well, what is healthy love is going to help you. Something that is important is to recognize if you're trying to convince yourself or someone else that they are the one when you're not being treated well. I would say that. And I know my fellow friends, anxious attachers, often that can be the case. Not always. I work with plenty of people that are in relationship with secure partners that are just working towards having healthier dynamics for themselves and healthier strategies. Okay, I am going to leave it there. Like I say, hope you took some gems. Do follow me on Instagram, carly.ann underscore. If you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, there are over 100 episodes of Lessons in Attachment. So you can go and choose between them there. And yeah, just your reminder, do check out the Attachment Recovery Gym if you're looking to take action right now.